Hello, everyone, and welcome to something a bit different than my usual stuff. This is a video I've been wanting to making for a while because it's something I'm very passionate about. It's how I make comics. Uh, I would consider myself kind of professional. I'm gonna get beat up for that, but I just wanted to share like stuff I've learned personally. So yeah. Stuff that I have written in this PowerPoint thing that I'd like to cover would be just my personal comic making process. That includes writing, drawing, posting, and promoting your comic. And basically just a bunch of me yapping about the above topics. So, obligatory disclaimer. This is literally just stuff I picked up in my own comic making journey. It's generally up to preference, I think, so you can just take what you want from it and like don't take me as like the be all end all opinion on these things, please. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of just things happen and they succeed sometimes, so I'm gonna go forth with that. So the first thing I want to talk about is writing the actual story. I'm both a writer and an artist for my comics. Like I kind of do everything by myself. That's just a me thing. Like you can write with a team, and that's probably a better idea. I'll touch on that a little bit later. But so this is Jesus. Sorry, for just a second. Forgive me if I stutter a lot. This is not scripted outside of what you see on the screen, so I'm all over the place. So I apologize. Any fucking ways. So my process for writing my comics is, I guess it's pretty linear. I do what I call idea babbling, and then I go to an outline, and then I go directly to the script. So let me explain these things. Idea babbling is what I call basically just like a stream of consciousness, like type of deal. Like I just type a bunch of shit onto a doc and see what sticks. Like it's basically my brainstorming phase. That would probably be a better way to put it. I don't have an example like screen cap of what this looks like, but just imagine like just a wall of text that could go nowhere. It could have some ideas in it. It's just, yeah. Then after that, I go to the outline, which is basically just a more organized version of the ideas. I like to take the stuff that I liked from the idea babbling and just like string it together in an order that makes sense to me, for the story that I'm trying to write. And here's an example of that. This is from the outline of Heart of Camelot, my current comic. This only shows the prologue and a bit of chapter 1, but you can see like these bullet points are kind of just like a single sentence, but like I said up here, they could range from a single sentence to like a full-on like page worth of paragraph. It just depends on what I feel like will help me in the actual script. Because I'm the only one who's gonna see this, this part of the process. Because like I'm the writer here, so it doesn't need to look like pretty or professional or anything. It's just what it's for my own purposes. So, if it's your first comic, I would definitely say don't make it too long. Like, listen, my first finished comic was under 200 pages. It was 6 chapters, yes, which is still pretty fucking long in my opinion, but it was under 200 pages. I think it was close to 200, but still. And it took a hot second to finish. I was lucky that my ADHD ass was still like interested in the idea, like the story, until I finished it. Which actually, you know what? I wasn't. Like, okay, so I'm talking about my first comic, which is, sorry to go on a tangent, but like, my first comic was Doppelganger, a Danny Phantom fan comic. It was 6 chapters, like I said. I started it in like 2015, I think, and I ended it in 2018. But the reason I ended it in 2018, it would have gone on longer. But I ended it in 2018 because I got into Dragon Ball at the time. And I was kind of like phasing out of Danny Phantom, which that is a thing you have to consider if you're going into a fandom-based comic, like a fan comic, because you might lose interest in that fandom, which is what happened to me. And I finished the comic, yes, but from chapter like 5 onward, I finished like 5 pages a day, which is fucking crazy. Do not do that. Don't do that. Like, 5 a week is a lot. 5 a day is crazy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyways, the quality went down like a whole lot. I was so very obviously rushing because I wanted to finish the comic, but I wasn't into it anymore. So I was like half committed. Just committed enough to finish it. But I do regret doing that. But I mean, it was either that or just not finish it, because that's what happened to my second comic, which is the one that I stopped the first one to start. Anyways, back to this single slide that I've been on for like 20 minutes. Yeah, keep it short. In regards to the outline, I like to finish the entire outline, like the whole story. No matter how long it is, I like to finish the whole story in an outline before writing the script, especially before doing any thumbnails. So I know what to expect from the story. And it gives me a better idea of like what the story is gonna look like, you know, like it feels more solid. Now for the scripting part, this is the big boy part of the writing. This will dictate how your pages look if you do it the way I do. For every comic that I've done before my current one, I scripted it like a movie script, like no page breaks, no anything like that. It felt like hard mode to me now, because now I do it in like a, well, I mentioned this on the next slide, but I do it in like a different format. It's like panel by panel, page by page, you know. But originally I didn't do that. I'll touch on that in a second. But I think you should probably do more than one draft of the script. Like, that's probably standard fare, especially for professional scripts. I'm not a professional writer. I do not do that for a living. But I have some friends who do, and I'm sure they would agree that it's good to get more than one draft of your script. I just don't do that because that's just how I work, I suppose. It's not the best, I suppose, but like, it works for me. Anyway, I try to finish like at least a big chunk of the script before starting thumbnails. Because if I want to change plot stuff later on, which I've done that a few times with Heart of Camelot, I can do that without affecting the stuff that I've already started in the beginning. So yeah, like if you want to change stuff later on in the story, that would be good to do like all of that shit first before you start with like the thumbnails. That way you're not, you know, redoing a bunch of art that you don't want to redo. That would take forever. Okay, yeah, like I mentioned, I do my scripts by like a page by page, panel by panel thing. Because this helps me figure out the layouts for the pages a lot easier than like I was doing it. This does, however, require you to be able to like kind of vaguely visualize what you want the page to look like. Like you got to figure out like, oh, I want this to have like this little shot or like this scene in it, and you got to figure out if that will all fit on one page or if it will require multiple pages. It's I guess it's a little difficult sometimes, but like just I really don't know how to advise that part. It's just something you have to like feel out, and you get better at it as you do it. So, but in regards to the paneling for this, I try to plan out my pages to have at most 6 or 7 panels, because that avoids clutter and cramping for everything. But you can use more or less of that amount to just depending on what you're trying to convey, because like 7 has been like ideal for me. I think I used to say like just 6, but 7 seems to be doing it for Heart of Camelot at least, especially with the page size that I work on now. But you can make more work, like if you have like a bunch of tiny panels for like little reaction beats or something, that could definitely work. But if you want to do like big dramatic panels, then I would definitely do like, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe even less. You can make it work. Usually, like there is a cap, I think, but you can figure that out. Here's an example of a script page from Heart of Camelot, and I will break it down in a second. Okay, so on a script page, this is like the whole page. I do this on each, like I page break after each one of these. So up here, I started off by writing down the page number, and it says the panel count right here, but like while I'm writing this, I don't know how many panels I'm gonna end up with until I like finish writing the page. So usually I just put X panels and then I edit it to the total amount once I finish the page. After the page number line, I go to my first panel and I just write, panel 1, and then I describe what happens in the panel, including like the angle, the zoom, like that, all that. And then I go to the dialogue if there is any. I like to write my character names in all caps. I can't remember why I do that, but it looks nice, so I'm gonna keep doing that. Make sure to write each like distinct word bubble on its own line. Sometimes I can't tell how big a word bubble is going to be until I actually put it on the page, so this is kind of like a guess. But like separate them by lines. Like they could be the same person talking, just like if you want to do like a combination of 2 or 3 word bubbles and like break up the dialogue, then you can write it on like 3 different lines. If you want to have like panels look similar to each other, like maybe like an expression change or something, I like to write in the description of the panel something like near match to X panel, or similar shot or angle, or etc. to X panel. That works great for that purpose. OP in like next to the character name means off panel. That means they're not going to be in the shot. It's just they're like speaking from out of view. And it doesn't show it on this page, but you can indicate sound effects with SFX like it's like the character name. So instead of like Rush right here, it'd be SFX, and then the dialogue would instead be replaced by like the onomatopoeia, like boom, bam, whatever. You know how it is. Okay, so here is the part that I'm most excited about. Probably the part that many of you were maybe watching this for. I apologize. I spent like 15 minutes on not art. Oh my god, it's already been 15 minutes. Oh my god. Okay. So this is the art part, finally. Sorry, I forgot I put that there. My process for making a page, like the art for the page, would be I start with the thumbnails, which again I do after the script, or whatever amount of script I have. And then I do letters, then panels, then pencils, then inks, flats, shading, lighting, etc., and then the finishing touches. So let's start with thumbnails. I would consider thumbnails essential for creating a comic because they allow you to plan the layout of the page. Like, you know, just where everything goes, making sure things aren't like cramped or like, yeah, like you can plan out where the dialogue goes. You can make sure everything flows well. And you do this before you start the big final page sketch because, oh my god, if you don't thumbnail this shit out and you start with just like a full page, you're gonna do so much art, like so much serious art on this page. And then if you fuck up the layout and the flow, and you have to redo all of that, no, you don't want to do that. That's a lot of work that is just like wasted. So I recommend doing like itty bitty thumbnails. They need to be like as quick as possible. Like don't spend like 30 minutes on one thumbnail. Like that's way too damn long. You want to get out as many of these as you can, in as little time as you can. Like they can be like find shorthands for your characters. Like look at this. It's literally like a circle with a dot face. Like that's all you need to do. Like if you can know where the character is and what character it is on the page, then you're good. It can be like a stick figure. Like don't spend that long on these. This is literally just to like help you figure out the layout of the page and make sure everything flows together. I do like to thumbnail out the whole chapter before doing the full pages. That's a personal preference. For my other comic, New Game, which is currently on hiatus, I'm gonna redo the rest of where I'm at forward, but so far it's a total of 87 pages. That's what it came out to. I did it before I started doing the new scripting format, so it was kind of just like a guess as to how many pages it would be, but it ended up being 87, and I thumbnailed all of them before I finished the full pages, which I think I'm on page like 55 of the full pages, but I'm gonna redo the rest of them, like I said. But yeah, I would recommend doing as many thumbnails as you can ahead of time, just so you have an easier like flow going into the full pages, and so you could see what maybe needs to be changed before you like commit to those. Up next is letters, which is just the dialogue bubbles. I do these first. Like after the thumbnails, I do these first thing on the full pages, because that helps me determine how big my panels and stuff need to be. Which it could end up different than the thumbnails. That's happened a couple times. Because I need to make sure there needs to be enough like space in the panel for the letters as well as the characters and the art that's like important on the page. I guess I'll like give an example of that in a second, but make sure to choose like a readable font. There are popular fonts you can find for free or like with a cheap license. Like there's one built into Clip Studio if you use Clip Studio. It's really good. I personally use, I think it's like Anime Ace BB3 or some shit. It's good. It's free for indie creators, but if you're like a studio creator, you need like a license for it. But I'm talking like a big publishing studio like IDW or something. But we are not that. So, yeah. So this is important to me. Uh, you gotta arrange the bubbles, like the flow of the bubbles, in a way that leads the viewer's eye through the page. And what I mean by this is in this diagram I've scribbled up. If you read the bubbles in order, they should kind of like lead you through the order of the page. Like you can see the path right here. I'm not sure what else to explain about that. Like I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory from the diagram, but basically just make sure that it's easy to guide your viewer's eyes through the comic page how you want them to see it. Make sure it's like comfortable. Like don't do weird shit. Like don't arrange them in a way that makes them go like over here and then over here and then down here and then up back here and then, you know what I mean? So I was gonna touch a bit more on panels, but they kind of do go hand in hand with the letter space for me because, like I said, when I do the letters, it helps me determine how big the panels are gonna be. However, I do want to touch a little bit on like shapes of the panels because like we're all used to just the regular squares and rectangles, right? But to add visual interest, it's really good to add different shapes and maybe even different angles. A few that I could think of that are in these three examples would be like skewed and uneven shapes. So like in the first two pages, you can see up here, I use uneven and like kind of slanty panels to indicate action. And then over here, I kind of use it as a way to signify like unease. Just because it's like, you know, it's not like a straight up like even panel. It's like, oh, this is kind of crooked, you know, like it makes you feel a little uneasy, or at least it's supposed to. I learned that from studying Archie panels. Open panels are great for like dramatic moments or establishing shots. Like in this panel right here, there's no borders. There's no panel. It's just a big open drawing, and that would be a good establishing shot. And then I really like these where like panels where the characters pop out of them, like over here. It just looks neat. It adds a bunch of like visual interest for me. I actually need to do that a bit more on Heart of Camelot. But anyway, there's like a lot of different ways to do panels really cool. And also I didn't write this down, but like gutters. My rule of thumb is if you're doing like, you know, the even square rectangle type of shit, then I would do like, how do I explain this? The horizontal gutters, I think, should be like thicker than the vertical ones. I think that's how it should be usually. That could change though, because like I know, say this like second panel was actually two panels split up. How I would do that would be like this first panel is here, and then there's like kind of a thicker gutter between those, and then there's like a thinner gutter between the two split up panels. To me, I don't know how to explain it very well, but like to me that helps it like flow better. Like it helps you understand where your eye needs to go, like what panel comes where. I really don't know how to explain that, I'm sorry. I hope that makes any fucking sense. So after that I do pencils, which is just another way of saying the sketch. Yes, I know my pencils look like inks. I really like clean sketches. Don't worry about it. But to do these, I like to take my thumbnail sketch and just like blow it up really big to fit the page. I kind of align it to the like the bleed line for the page. Like, I have a template that I use that has the bleed cutoff points, because I'm gonna print it personally. But if you're doing like just a straight up webcomic, you don't really need to worry about that. I only do it because I'm gonna print it. So I use the thumbnail, like the big thumbnail, as like a vague guide. I don't like always follow it exactly. Like for example on this page, this panel right here with Percival, it used to be like an almost exact copy of panel 3, except they would like turn their heads and one of them would speak. But I focused on Percival in the end instead, because I thought it looked better and also it like fit everything better. So things can change during the pencil phase. Yeah. It's good to have like the letters, like the dialogue bubbles, on like a sort of low opacity layer so you could see like where they would fit. I didn't show it here, but like it looks like there's a bunch of open space in the pencils, and that's because I need that open space to fit the letters. You have to make sure that there's enough space for both. I'm going to emphasize that. You do not want your letter bubbles covering up important pieces of art and characters. Real quick, I just remembered, for letters, like especially the bubble itself, I have been told by like a professional letterer that you kind of want to avoid covering the characters with the balloon tail. I can't remember their explanation for that, but you know, it's best to not do that. I guess that and like over important stuff. I guess it's the same for just like the bubble in general. Like you don't want to cover important stuff. Some people skip the pencil phase like entirely. Like I know, like for example, White Manga on YouTube. He goes straight into like line art, which is crazy to me. Like y'all who do that, your power is immense, but I cannot do that. I kind of just I have to do my pencils and then I have to do my inks. That's just how I work. But you can do however is most comfortable for you. For the pencils, if you're doing them by yourself, you can be like as loose or as clean as you want to be, because like, you know, you're the only one who really needs to worry about this. But if you're working on a team and you have separate inkers, I would personally make them more clean, just so that it's less confusing for your inkers. Because like if you have just like a vague scribble, then it's gonna it's gonna be a little difficult for them to figure out what the hell is going on. So yeah, I guess like discuss that with them if you're really unsure. So up next is inks, which is the line art phase. I don't super have a lot to say about this, which is funny because like inking is my favorite part. I like, it's kind of self-explanatory. Like you just go over your sketch, but also like don't trace it per se. Just like go over it, yes, but don't follow it exactly. Like make little adjustments as you go. Like make it look better than the sketch if you can. I know sometimes that's difficult, but trust me, bro. After the inks, I do the flats, which is just, you know, like the flat colors. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Just I do put every color on its own layer in a folder clipped to like a gray layer that covers everything in the lines. And I do put my backgrounds and my characters on separate layers, or separate folders rather. That's just, it works better for me, you know, to have them separate, because then I could just like color the characters separately from the background, and it just works better for me. But you can do whatever is most comfortable for you. After that, I add the shading and the lighting and shit. You don't have to do this. A lot of people don't. it would save a lot of time if you didn't, a lot of time and headache. But depending on like your vision for your comic, you can add as much detail as you want. Just like don't fucking kill yourself doing it, you know what I mean? Like know what you're you have the stamina to do, you know? Like you don't want to burn out doing this. You have to make it in a way that's fun and not stressful. Especially if you're doing it like for fun. Yeah, I mentioned here, like, my old comic villain school didn't have shading at all, but that was because of the art style I was using. It was like a very, like, graphic, cartoony art style. Like, think Danny Phantom. They don't have shading in Danny Phantom. That's basically what it looked like. So, yeah, this literally just depends on what you want it to look like. Like, for Heart of Camelot, I have 1 layer of shading, sometimes 2, depending on how the lighting is supposed to look. Maybe even 3, but that's rare. And then, like, I have a highlight layer, and that's kind of it. After that, I do finishing touches, which, again, a lot of this is optional, but I personally like to add a gradient map to every panel. Sometimes it's different gradient maps, just to make the colors pop a bit more. I also add a brightness contrast layer, just to make things pop a little more. And then I add, like, coloring to the line art. Not all of it. I used to color way more of the line art, but now I just color, like color changes, like in Rush's hair right here. I colored these lines. I colored the eyes. That's kind of it, though. Like, usually I would color all these little creases in the clothes for, like, illustrations. But for comics, I love myself, and I don't do that. So, yeah, and then I have this, like, auto action that I use that adds, like, a sharpen filter over everything. I like how it looks when it's shrunk down. Like, you can see it's kind of, like, sharp and crispy here, and I like that. A few extra things. In regards to backgrounds, there does not need to be a detailed background in every panel. You could honestly just get away with just, like, color backgrounds, like a gradient or something. Maybe even just a solid color, depending. Like, unless you're doing an establishing shot or something that requires you to draw out the background, then I wouldn't worry about it. Just to save yourself some headache. For my backgrounds, I like to use like gradients and textures and stuff, just to keep them interesting without doing a whole fucking background. 3D models, okay? I did not used to use 3D models. I do now. Professional comic artists do use 3D models. Like, I know of, like, some, for example, like IDW Sonic artists who use, like, SketchUp for, like, buildings and stuff, and that's totally okay. Like, it saves time, it saves hassle, it saves, like, again, headache. It saves headache. And it's faster and easier, and, like, you want to make your life easier, right? If you enjoy doing big backgrounds without 3D models, then more power to you. Like, that's incredible. You guys scare me. But, especially if you're working on a deadline, I would recommend just use the 3D model. Just use it. Love yourself. Like, there's literally no shame in, like, tracing a 3D model. I fucking do that for Heart of Camelot. It's fine. It's literally fine. Just do it. Okay, so in regards to character designs, please, for the love of God, use character designs that will not kill you to draw them 1,000 times. Because you're going to draw these bitches, like, 1 billion times. You gotta have something that does not, like, torture you to draw every time. Like, for example, Knight Armor. Literally, like, if you enjoy drawing detailed designs, then, like, do it. You know, like, it's your comic. Have fun doing what you want to do. Like, if you're fucking, like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventuring your way through comics, then sure, go ahead. That's awesome, and I love to see it. But I'm not gonna do that myself. Yes, I make a comic about knights in armor on every fucking page, but like, don't look at me. Basically, like, make sure you enjoy it. Make sure you enjoy it, and you won't burn out from doing it a lot. That's basically it. I could get into character design in general. I am still very passionate about character design. I wanted to go into professional character design before I got into comics, so yeah, I have many years of like practice and study put into that subject, but that would be a whole fucking new video, so I'm not gonna say anything. There's a billion character design tutorials online, just like use your best judgment there. Here's some extra stuff that I haven't covered yet. A lot of the stuff that I have covered is optional or just like up to preference. Like for example, the pencils. Like, you don't always have to do pencils. If you just want to go back into the line art, then go ahead, do it. Sometimes just having a good story is enough. Like, you can. I've seen comics that are just like stick figures, and like the story's great and people love it. Like, no, like black and white stick figures, no backgrounds, just stick figures. That's it. And you literally don't have to get fancy with it if you don't want to. Like, only do what you will have fun doing. If you don't feel like coloring, then don't fucking color. If you don't want to shade, don't shade. You don't want to draw backgrounds, you don't gotta. Just like do what makes you happy with your comic. You have to be the one to enjoy it first and foremost. Because if you don't, it's gonna suck and you're not gonna finish it. So definitely figure out what you want to do and what you don't want to do and go from there. That was my dog. So if you don't want to have a lot of work, like all of the work on your shoulders, I would recommend finding some people to collaborate with. Like, if you're a writer and you don't want to draw everything, or you like don't know how to draw like that, then find some artist friends that you can work with, or like vice versa, you know. Even if you are an artist, you can add more artists to your team. Like, if you want to just do the pencils, then just do the pencils and have someone else do your inks. It's a lot less work on you, and that's probably like it like saves time too. You just have to be sure to like organize everything, and like I recommend having like a group chat for everybody to communicate in. Communication is very important with this. If they're not volunteers, then please pay your team fairly. Finding people to like voluntarily, like for free, do your work with you is kind of hard unless you're like already friends with them, and even then that's not even a guarantee. So yeah, I would just like think about it and put some thought into it. So exporting your file, I put this in here because why did I put this in here? just a little extra. I tend to export it as a PNG at like 800 pixels wide. To me, that feels like a good size. You can export it at any size you think looks good. However, I would recommend at least 300 DPI. I use 350, but 300 is a good start for like having, you know, not blurry images. And like I would make it like obviously big enough to be read easily. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to fucking mention about letters. Sorry to throw this in here randomly, but make sure your font size is readable even when it's like zoomed all the way out. Like for my size, I tend to use like 7.5 pixels font size, because like it's like big enough to like be able to be read when it's like it fits the whole page. That's really important, I think. Like, you don't want to have to zoom in on each page to read what the hell it says. So yeah, But anyway, like I was saying, I choose the size that I use because it kind of like it hides the imperfections that you can see when you're 100% zoomed in on the full page, like the full res page. Like like I'll be so for real. There's some parts that I like miscoloring, like there's little gaps and shit. But if I shrink the page to that size, then it hides those. So there's my secret. If you're going to print it, though, definitely use at least 300 DPI. I've seen people use like 600. Like, it just depends on how like crisp and big you want it to be, I guess. Definitely something to put research into. I haven't printed anything yet, so I'm not like a professional on that regard. But I plan to, so I'm gonna do a little more research into that once it gets closer to time to do that. In regards to where to post, I personally prefer to use Comic Fury and Tumblr, those two specifically, because with Tumblr you can use like a desktop theme that's like a specifically made for comics, and also it's like a good archive of your pages, and like you could post like updates. Like my Heart of Camelot blog is both a comic posting blog as well as like I post like little rambles or like little lore bits or like concept art or just like little doodles, you know, like anything that has to do with the comic I post there. I don't just post comic pages. However, on Comic Fury, which is an amazing website, you should go support it. I just post the comic pages there. You can get fancy with the HTML. I do not. I'm not a coder just yet. I do plan on coding my own personal website with NeoCities later on, once I get time and energy to do that. But that's like a whole undertaking. That's like a whole ass, you gotta code a website. So you gotta be dedicated for that shit. I am not yet there, but I will be, I promise. I know a lot of people like to use Webtoon. I don't like to use it. I don't like it for reasons. But it's literally up to you what you want to do. Like, a lot of people use Webtoon. Again, I prefer Comic Fury. I've seen people use Tapas. Tapas? I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. I've never like said it out loud before. Anyway, like find a website or like hosting site or whatever that works for you. Yeah. Now, as for scheduling, if you want consistent views and like attention on your comic, I would highly recommend you have a set posting schedule, because like if people know when to expect an update, they'll check in, you know, like they'll go in every Saturday to look at their favorite webcomic. But this can range from like every day, if you have a big enough buffer, which is like, you know, like how many pages you have ahead of schedule. It can range from like once a day to once like a week, maybe twice a week, once every other week, once a month even. Just ever how long you want to take on your comic. Some people post one page at a time, some people post in batches. Like I used to post a new game at 5 pages a month at the same time. And some people prefer to do entire chapters at once. Like I think a lot of people on Webtoons do that. It really is up to you, like what you're most comfortable with. You should know the pace and work you're capable of doing comfortably without burning out or dying in the process. Like, don't, like please have a buffer. If you have to have like a set deadline, if you're not able to meet that deadline consistently without dying, then I would definitely put aside a buffer, like of maybe like, honestly for me 10 pages would be ideal. 5 is like doable still as well, but like right now I don't have any fucking buffer. I just kind of like I post once a week and I take the entire week to do 1 page. Sometimes I get ahead of schedule, which is good, but usually I'm like way too busy with other shit to work on my personal for free comic. So like I said, it depends on what you know you're capable of doing comfortably. Don't like, uh, don't like kill yourself doing this comic. I swear it won't be fun anymore. And you want to have fun doing it. If you're just doing it for fun, like you do not give a shit about how many people see it, or like, you know, like the traction it's gonna get. Like you're not really doing it for anyone but yourself genuinely. Then like you don't really need a schedule. This is just for people who want to like have like some sort of following with their comic, like wanting to reach people with their comic. But yeah, you don't like need that. So for promoting your comic, just wanted to throw this in here because it's important for me. But this, honestly, this can be like a little tricky. I have trouble with it personally because the comic itself takes like so much of my time and energy, like on top of the other stuff that I have to do. Like I do commissions full time, so like I have to work on those, and I also want to put aside time for like personal art that isn't comic work, and then I have to do the comic. So I don't have like a lot of time in the day to do all of this shit. So I don't generally have enough time or energy to do promotional work. If you can manage to do all that, then I highly recommend it. It would definitely get more eyes on your comic and help build up like hype and interest. Like, my advice would be to literally do not shut up about your comic. Talk about it as much as possible. Be your comic's #1 fan. You have to like act like it's the hypest shit in the world, and then other people will be interested too. They'll be like, what the hell is this person talking about? Like I have to know more. Like talk about the characters in the story as much as you'd like, without like spoiling if you don't want to spoil certain things. Like, yeah, like post concept work, or like do little doodles or little promotional pieces, and you know, like just regular illustrations of the characters being themselves, you know. It'll like prompt people to read more about them and want to learn more. Like you gotta hook people somehow, you know. In my experience, I've seen people do promo material ranging from like just little extra illustrations here and there to full ass animations with like voice acting and shit and custom music. So like do whatever you're comfortable doing and like have the time for. Anything helps, honestly. And you could post your promo material like wherever you want, but I would choose where you have the most reach. Like for me, that would be Tumblr and Blue Sky. But I know people who are more active on like Toy House or YouTube or whatever, you know, like wherever you have the most traction, I would post your promotional material there. Wow, we're at the end already. Okay. Already, it's been like nearly an hour. So closing thoughts on this. Okay, for real. I'm gonna be so level with you right now. Comics are so fucking fun, but you have to let yourself have fun with them. Do not stress over them. Like, if it's your job, that's one thing, but like, at the end of the day, you want to enjoy what you do. Because I find them to be so fun and rewarding. Like, I always encourage people to do a comic, even if it's like a little one, not like a big, like long-running comic, but like maybe like hell, even like a 5-pager, you know? Because comics like kind of force you to learn and draw things you wouldn't normally go out of your way to do, like weird perspectives or poses you wouldn't normally draw. Like you don't really have an excuse to draw this jumping, twisting pose or whatever, you know? Expressions, backgrounds, you know, like shit you wouldn't normally draw. Props. It's really a good way to practice and like expand your horizons on what you can do. Like they've definitely helped me improve in art in general so much, just because I've had to like look into this stuff and like learn how to do it for the sake of the comic. And I'm a better artist for it. I will stand by this. Uh, Plus, comics are really rewarding because the feeling I get when I see a bunch of my finished pages in one place, like I look in my folder and there's like I don't know, 30 pages all done, just in the same spot. It just feels really nice. I'm like, man, I did that. Like I finished a whole chapter. I finished a whole comic. You know, it's like it's so nice. It's so very nice, and I recommend it to everyone. So yeah, go make a comic right now. Right now. Close the video. Go make a comic. Right now. So yeah, that's everything. I think. One thing that I just remembered. Sorry. Tangents. God, please watch out for tangents. I was told that it is a sign of an amateur layout artist if there's tangents. And a tangent is like where two lines come together like uncomfortably. Like if like two things are like right next to each other, but like the border lines kind of like form into one line, you do not want that. It's not clear and it feels weird to look at. Just like separate them and have better spacing with your lines. Like you don't want them to be together. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you want to see more of my comic stuff, you can find me on Comic Fury as Nighthearts. My current comic is Heart of Camelot. It's like an isekai kind of deal into the world of King Arthur. Like some dude is now in Camelot and things happen. That was a horrible description. I'm sorry. I'm not selling it very well. Basically, there's like knights and like gay knights and isekai. Lancelot is there. That should be enough. My previous comics include my Sonic fan comic New Game. It's about Scourge and like redemption arc stuff. Villain School. That I miss Villain School. It's about like 3 kids going through villain school. Like they're super powered kids in a world of superheroes and villains, and they go through villain school. I don't know how else to describe it. Mirrors, which is a Dragon Ball OC fan comic kind of deal. That one I don't think I'm gonna finish, as much as I would love to. It got 6 chapters in. It's 222 pages. It's like my longest comic so far. Heart of Camelot is going to heavily surpass it once it's done, but it has the trophy right now. And then Doppelganger, my first baby. It was a Danny Phantom fan comic centering around Dark Danny, or Dan, and Future Vlad. It's my first baby. And I'm very, all things considered, I'm very proud of it. I think the story is really solid and good. The art is hurting a little bit, like I mentioned earlier, but yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm sure there's a bunch of other, I'm sure there's a bunch of other shit that I may have missed that I'll think of later and be like, fuck. But yeah, this video is almost an hour long now. I knew it would be long. I did not know it would be an hour. So, apologies. But thank you for sticking around if you have for this long. I know it was a lot of me like fumbling around with my words. My throat hurts now. So yeah, if you want to like ask me stuff in the comments or whatever, I'd be happy to try and answer. Or like message me somewhere. I don't know. I just really like to share what I've learned about things, and this particular video was about the comics stuff that I have learned. So I hope this helps in some way at some point. So yeah, thanks for watching. I love you guys.